Hey everybody, quick addendum to the intro of this video because I've been sitting on it for far too long, but I also need to just say a couple of things. The first being that this discussion was recorded before the announcement of Bananza'd's DLC, and as such, we do not talk about it here. But even more importantly, at this point, Donkey Kong Bonanza has entered and exited the rapidly shifting cultural zeitgeist as we leave behind the honeymoon period and slowly transition to the inevitability of long-term, long-form critique. One day, I hope to get there for myself, but that's not really what this video is about. And that's partially because I am an unabashed Donkey Kong fanboy. Donkey Kong is seriously one of the only series I feel this strongly about. It means so much to me, not just because of its formative role in my childhood and even my adulthood, but because for me, being a part of the Donkey Kong fandom has felt kind of like a brotherhood in a lot of weird ways. That's what I think this video is trying to be about. I gathered some close friends to discuss Bonanza with whom I have dearly bonded with over a number of years and in a variety of ways, but honestly, Donkey Kong was kind of the connective tissue that really brought us together initially. And so, more than just shoot the shit about the popular game of the week before quickly forgetting about it, I wanted to capture that and share that in this discussion with a group of creators that I think have each contributed greatly to the wider discussion surrounding one of our favorite video game series, some of which you might recognize. And so, without wasting any more time, I want to transition right into the discussion just after introducing those lovely guests. Starting with, he is the progenitor of the mythical Donkey Kong month here on YouTube. Some say he's the nicest guy on YouTube. Others may say he's the iciest guy on YouTube. It's the king of Kong. It's Snowman Gaming. Snowman, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, man. I'm super pumped to talk about Donkey Kong.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you because as many hardcore Donkey Kong fans know, Snowman has been putting the work in over the years, spreading the good word. So of course, and Snowman has gracefully allowed myself and another fellow guest here to be a frequent collaborator on a lot of Donkey Kong stuff. So I had to gather the DK crew essentially. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're headed. Next up, he's the leader of the bunch in my heart. You know him well, as he's a big personality and a frequent collaborator with Snowman, like I said. And he's finally back to streaming to kick some tail. It's Peridactyl Show. Perry,
Yo!
what's up?
Yo, Wizzy, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about Donkey Kong. One of the most passionate topics I have in my repertoire. And Donkey Kong Bonanza, woohoo, banana indeed, my friend. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yes, banana freaking slamma, dude. All right. We have one final guest. Last but certainly not least, this creator is so strong after years of carrying the torch of Donkey Kong Month year after year with one thoughtful, excellent retrospective after another. This essayist is one hell of a guy. It's Alex Post-Mesmeric Carlson. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Great to be here and talk about just the incredible amount of things to talk about regarding Donkey Kong, especially with the newest release. Really happy to be here, guys.
So happy to have you, man. And I just want to point out before we head into it, Alex just celebrated his 10-year anniversary as a video essay boy. Can we get?
Yeah, it was just a couple days ago,
bro.
A couple days ago was
Yeah.
it was the dishwasher video came out 10 years ago. Just a couple.
Wow.
Yeah,
I heard about that game from you.
What was that? Sorry.
I heard about that game from you. I remember being like, oh, I've never heard of a dishwasher game. What is this?
I love that game so much, and I still have that video carried a lot. So I appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much, guys.
And you're right, like carrying on the DK month. It's funny because like I did like a final Donkey Kong month or whatever, and you kept it going. And like, I don't know Dunkey at all, but then Dunkey started Donkey Kong December around the same time.
What?
So it's like still in the like,
Wow.
you know,
I gotta
ether.
watch
Everyone
some
wants a
Donkey.
Donkey Kong month. Yeah.
Dunkey is just biting your shit, clearly.
Mine was April. His is December. So
Sorry, I had to throw some shade. That's just
yeah.
No hate to Dunkey. I'm just trolling.
I'm
just trolling around.
Snow's coming back, and he's gunning for Dunk.
Unplanned that same year, he started it in December. Different month.
Wow.
Tried to change it up. Yeah.
Now everyone thinks
The
that
DK
Dunkey
lore
did
goes
it.
deep,
When...
even into the YouTube channels. This is fascinating stuff.
Yes.
I just think everybody loves DK. That's why everyone wants
Facts.
a piece of the DK pie.
Yes. And speaking of DK,
For real.
I want to get into I want to get into the discussion. Tongue twister there. I teased this at the beginning. You know, I've been on an arc on this second channel here, kind of talking about, you know, my impressions of the game, and that was a bit of a wild roller coaster because, you know, that first reveal was like just very shocking. I mean, 10 years of no DK does something to a man. 20 years of no 3D DK does another thing to a man. So it was like the reaction was very, I don't want to say very polarizing because it was like mostly positive. But I think, you know, as a DK fan, it was like it took some time to adjust. So I kind of wanted to see, I kind of talked about that in depth over here on my channel, but I kind of wanted to get a quick thought from you guys, like how you were feeling, because I know, you know, I expressed some concern about like starting off with like the DK redesign, and
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about what you guys were thinking. So, I mean, Perry, if you want to start off, what were you?
Yeah, I think it's
what
one
were
of
you
those
thinking?
things like when Nintendo dropped the first trailer for Bonanza, like at first I think everybody that remotely knows Donkey Kong was like, "What did you do to my boy? Who is this? Who is this monkey? I do not recognize him. This is not mine." And there are still people that feel that way. And personally, for me, what helped was how animated and how expressive Donkey Kong is in Bonanza. And that initial trailer, it shows some of that. Like he does a, like, you know, the excited for banana thing. And I think Bonanza has elevated DK. And even back when they first debuted this trailer, you're like, whoa, Donkey Kong's really going for it. Like he's having a good time. And I think that's just infectious. So like, I was harsh on it at first because it's just like too big a change. Like you said, it's like it's been 10 years since a new Donkey Kong, and this is not Donkey Kong Country, and I don't know what you did to my monkey man, and I grew to love it like instantly. It was crazy.
How about you, Snowman? You want to jump in? What were your thoughts?
I was pretty much all in the second I saw it. I think because of just how expressive it was, so cool. Like it, for me, Donkey Kong wasn't my favorite of the monkeys, right? Like, you know, you love Diddy and Dixie and Funky Kong, right? Donkey was always kind of just like standard. So this gave him a lot more personality and stuff to express himself more. So I feel like it was kind of needed in a way, or like at least I was certainly all in, where it's like, this is a cool DK that I can get behind. Where before, you know, it's like I like the other Kongs kind of better. So now it's like, okay, this makes DK really likable.
I didn't really think about that because they definitely did a great job of like giving DK a personality and like elevating his presence even in his like own franchise. So like, yeah, completely nailed it, bro.
Mm-hmm. Alex, how about you? Because I know I was actually rewatching one of your old DK videos the other day, and you know, especially with the first game, you know, the personality aspect of DK was very important to you. That was a long time ago, but it was something that was very important.
That was
to
the
you.
first DK video I did on the channel. If you're talking about the DKC one,
yes,
the DKC 1.
Mm-hmm.
My perspective on, I guess in a way, like obviously I was incredibly shocked and excited by when they actually dropped the DK Bonanza trailer in the Switch 2 Direct and ending the Direct with that. Like that's your stinger. That's the one that you really want to get in people's heads. But I think one thing that kind of made it a little bit like we kind of knew this was coming was the redesign for Mario Kart. Like when everybody saw that, they're like, why is he different? Why is it not the Rareware design? And I think just for a split second, people were thinking, did they do this for a reason? Like, is there going to be like there were so many people who were just really, really excited. Like it's amazing how a character redesign can just get all the all the the rumors and the speculation going. But when they ended the Switch 2 Direct with that Bonanza trailer, I was just like, I didn't know what to think. I'm like, it felt very much like this was Nintendo doing it. And at the time, we didn't know who exactly was going to be making this game. I mean, everybody kind of assumed who it would be, but we didn't have any confirmation until later. But it just blew my mind. I'm like, he's just ripping stuff out of the ground and just beating the crap out of the entire world. It was weird, but yeah, it was really hard to just not just be in a total daze from the just what exactly was going on, because this was the biggest amount of spotlight that Donkey Kong had in a very long time.
Yeah, and as a bit of a contrast, I can kind of reiterate a little bit of how I was feeling. I was a little concerned because, you brought up the fact that, like, it felt very Nintendo. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I could just, like, look at, like, how the cutscenes were, like, choreographed, and I was like, oh my god, this looks like a Nintendo. It's EPD 8, I think, the team that made Super Mario Odyssey. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is, like, very, like, big budget Nintendo focused game, which is, I mean, obviously very unusual for Donkey Kong. We haven't had that. I mean, we had a very, like, weird experimental jungle beat from that team a long time ago, but yeah, this was like a big freaking deal. And I was like a little bit concerned about that, purely off of the fact that, like, they were taking the character in a slightly different direction and emphasizing more of his, like, whimsical touch. And then also, it felt like playing into the Nintendo version of Donkey Kong from, like, way back in the day, and then kind of leaving the Rare version behind is kind of how it was feeling initially to me. And so spinning off of that, like, as we got further and learned more about the game, then obviously, like, my mind was put at ease, because it felt like the Nintendo additions that they were bringing to the game, it didn't feel like they were, like, kind of, this is jumping a bit ahead, but it didn't feel like so much as I was playing the game, like, they erased anything like I was initially concerned about. It kind of felt like they were adding and bringing everything together in a very satisfying way. And I think the first, like, big way that they ended up doing that for me was, like, Pauline's inclusion. And on that note, Snowman, I want to bring you in on this, because I have beef with you, actually. Because
let's go.
Because after
I know what you're going to say.
After the Direct, which, brought Pauline into the game as a marketing, my theory is that the devs probably wanted that to be a secret, but then the marketing was like, this is huge. Yeah, there was the leak as well. Yeah. So here's what Snowman had to say following the Direct. And the reason I bring this up is because I want to know how your thoughts have changed. But yes. Snowman said, and I quote, "Not gonna lie, I don't think I like Pauline in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Everything else in the game looks fantastic, but she just doesn't fit the aesthetic of this game, and frankly, it doesn't feel like it needs it? ? There's already so much going on mechanically that adding the singing, etc. seems unnecessary. Also, it's weird how they made a different version of the game with Odd Rock for Treehouse demos so they can drop the surprise a month before launch. Why not have her in the original trailer? Lore-wise, having Pauline is interesting, but a little rock guy is a better fit for this game, IMO." So how are you feeling now?
On the spot.
Yeah. No, because and you know how tweets go, where it's like, you try and drop a little thing that makes it sound more like I didn't care that much, right? But like, but I will say it was weird, the Odd Rock, and then like, it feels very weird that Odd Rock's in the game at all. Dude, at this point.
It does.
It feels
so
very strange.
After that first trailer, I purposely avoided everything, and then like, when you get the Pauline reveal, I was like, what happened to Odd Rock? I like Odd Rock.
Yeah.
He's a funny little guy.
Oh my gosh.
I liked Odd Rock too, and I didn't mind if that was like the guy for the whole game or whatever. And obviously, so I will say, yes, my opinion's definitely changed now. They tied it in really nicely. Pauline's they kind of expand on her backstory and stuff, and she's a good companion.
Oh my god.
But it was weird how it was revealed and stuff, but then also just I did feel like there was so much in that trailer just the Bonanza power-ups, and then just expanding on all the mechanics. He had a skill tree, and the clothes you get change his like the percentages of whatever. And I'm just like, holy, like, they don't need Pauline at all. Like, just this is adding in another layer on top of everything else. Felt like too much. And I will say it was just like cutscene stuff of like her voice and very anime, kind of like you're saying, of just how when she talks to the bad guys, and it just feels weird. Then DK's like, on top of her being like, no, we're going to save the world. And DK's like, So it's just kind of like, this is a weird combo. And I still think I stand by that, as at least just on the reveal aspect. But obviously, once you play the game, it's great.
To that point, I do think that, that reveal didn't do her a ton of favors, because, like, as far as like my interpretation of the story, like, she's kind of on a big focal point of the story is like she's on this arc to like finding her confidence as a singer. And so, all that early game stuff, she is so awkward. It's like the voice acting was like a little almost off-putting in a way. But then like
maybe it was like purposefully stilted.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, did you have any other thoughts on that, Perry?
Oh man, wait, are we talking about Pauline and Oddrock? Or
I mean, basically like what Pauline brings to the story, as well as in pairing with Donkey Kong.
I want to say a lot about this because I think Snow is right on the money. Like, from far out looking at Pauline and Donkey Kong, you're like, she's not necessary. DK is a boss. He doesn't need a little pal. If he's got a pal, it's got to be Diddy. He doesn't need anyone being like, whoa, let's go, let's beat that guy up. And it seems very like annoying or exaggerated, but I think there is a sincerity and genuineness that Pauline adds to the experience. It's like, I don't know if we'll get to it, but like the hangouts, when you go to that and you like, go take a nap and recover your HP, and Pauline's just got like little thoughts she has, and it's like really endearing. It's like Pauline is a child and she's in this crazy underground world, and she's just, rolling with it, and she's just having a good time. Like, she's not too focused on how am I gonna get home, because she's with a big strong monkey man. And I think they did a really good job of like, we talked about them like characterizing and making Donkey Kong very expressive. I think they did just as good or even better job with Pauline, because like personally, I didn't really know who Pauline was. I knew she was in Bonanza. She sang the jump song, great stuff. They put her in a Mario Kart, cool. She was an old Donkey Kong. All right.
Yeah, I mean, totally new dimension to her character, and also I think what I really liked about it is that what it adds to the narrative is just like not only like wholesomeness between like their interactions, but it gives like real like emotional stakes to the story, and at the same time it allows Donkey Kong to just be Donkey Kong, and he doesn't have to like push the story forward. He can just be the doofy, because like most, I mean, I don't personally know like how, if there's much like story or anything in Jungle Beat, but like for the other games, it's
really.
just
it's more
just
of an arcade game.
Yeah. Like he is just like not only like a doofus, but like, he's like nonchalant and doesn't care about most things besides bananas. It's totally in line with his character, and that made me so much more comfortable with like how they decided to reimagine him in that regard.
Yeah, totally. I think Pauline is a great use of, you're getting accustomed to this person, and Donkey Kong, it becomes like a stakes for Donkey Kong. When something happens to Pauline, DK is like, oh, we got to get Pauline back because she's my best friend. And it's like, wow, that's great. You didn't have to go that far, but that's great.
It also gives you like a human perspective to latch onto, where you can be like, oh, you kind of are, your lens is kind of Pauline's lens a little bit. When she goes, whoa, DK, you broke up that building, you'd be like, yeah, DK, you did break up that building. For you, buddy.
Yeah, and it's very like non-intrusive, because it's like, you're not.
Yeah.
This is a weird mention, but like I know when Pikmin 4 came out, I remember, Perry, I think you were like just the characters like chirping and like just not talking way too much in the intro. It's very non-intrusive in that regard. And the getaway conversations.
There's definitely an art to that, and they nailed Pauline from like not being annoying and more like just enjoyable to have.
Yeah.
And that's a hard line, especially for a video game, because you don't want to Navi all the time. Like that, you just Navi turn off if I can, right? And Pauline's just like, I'm expressing joy about the crazy stuff you're doing, Donkey Kong. And he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Good.
I do want to move forward, but Alex, if you have any thoughts on the Pauline stuff,
I really wish that this didn't get leaked. I honestly wish that they didn't put it in the initial direct. I wish that this was just a surprise when the game came out. As far as like just the execution of Pauline, I think she's great. I think, the whole recurring, subplot that she, she's trying to find her voice. She's trying to be more confident about how she presents herself is great. It's nothing super original, but I think that it's a really good angle. And I think one thing that really kind of drives home a lot of what she is sort of the voice of Donkey Kong at that point. Yes. Because she, first of all, there's a lot of voice acting from her in that game. A ton. Like you're talking to all these other characters and they're just making like Banjo-Kazooie just mumbled speak, but then she's got all this voice acted dialogue, and at first you're like, okay, why? And that's weird, but then you're like, oh, okay, she has a lot to say. I really like what she talks about in the little getaways and how it's related to the world that you're in. Like she mentioned about like when you're in the world with the monkeys that are fishing. She makes mentions like about what it's like fishing or something like that, and I think that that's really cool. And over time, you start to be like, yeah, this is actually a really well executed dynamic between these two characters, and you don't lose anything. Donkey Kong doesn't become lesser with her. I mean, like there's a really you still are able to see him being the goofy gorilla that we all know, and but we get sort of another angle that lets the world and the whole dynamic speak very coherently that way. And I think Pauline is a very interesting decision for the developers to implement. I think it's great.
Yeah. Sweet.
There's probably a video essay in there somewhere of the evolution of a companion character in Nintendo games from Navi to Pauline.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, totally.
The fact that she has mechanical relevance, like her singing is part of the gameplay, and so like I don't know, there's so much more.
I mean, even if you compare it to like Odyssey and little what was the hat guy's name? I don't even remember.
Cappy.
Yeah.
Totally.
Great point. Hey, if any SA people out there, you need a fire idea, there you go.
Snow's got a ton of ideas.
Easy.
No one steal that idea.
Oh, never mind. We gotta pay for that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Moving ahead, I want to kind of jump into the gameplay stuff, because that is like, this game, guys, I don't know how y'all felt, but, I think what was so interesting as far as my experience went, was like, I was concerned going in that I didn't know how much I was going to love, like, just punching things. But when I actually got into the game, like, for one, I was shocked to find out, like, how just intuitive and satisfying it is to just destroy stuff. Like it's like, it feels like in our human psyche, that's just satisfying to do that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, like once I got into the game and also seeing a bit more of this in the direct, like one thing I was so blown away by was like the gameplay itself also kind of emphasizing DK as a character, because contrasting from like Super Mario Odyssey, where like Mario is like so acrobatic and has this finesse and like has to really work with the environment around him, like Donkey Kong is like so unbelievably strong that he drops down from the freaking skybox and he shatters the ground beneath him. And also bringing forward like how he feels like kind of in the country games with his movement. It's this weird balance of like classic like twitchy gameplay and also something that is almost like frictionless, because he can just climb everywhere. And it's such a like,
I love that
interesting
you can just
blend.
Move everywhere. It feels so good to move.
And I'm also glad there's no stamina bar. That was also a good decision.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, like you comparing it to Country and also like whatever Bonanza is, it is fascinating that they nailed like how satisfying it is to go fast in Country, DKC, and Bonanza, because you got the roll, and guess what? You can roll, jump, roll, and you are zooming. And then if you got like a hunk of land, you can do another jump. It is insane. The movement mechanics are so satisfying. And
I had to ask.
Right, they had no right.
I had to ask if you guys are like turf surfers or just walking around rolling, because they're both like so fun. I was turf surfing any freaking point that I could.
I love turf surfing as a concept, but man, the mechanical satisfaction of just rolling and like you would roll and then jump off of something that like goes upwards, and then you're just flying, and then you could like Bonanza into like ostrich or wait, are we talking about Bonanza yet?
Just go ahead. It's fine. This is like core like gameplay
the combo
stuff.
Potential is crazy, and then when you Bonanza, you could switch to different Bonanzas. It is, dude, one of the most satisfying things. I know I'm like going all over the place, but Bonanza Snake into Bonanza Ostrich, you can just clear the whole map. It is wild.
And it's so fluid too.
Yeah.
Like switching the forms can be a little bit clunky, but for the most part, all the actions in the game are so fluid. And that, like, as a speedrunner, I want to, like, Snowman, hopefully you can speak to this a little bit too, the fluidity. And it's like, it almost, like, being extreme, it's like, it hits like crack for me. Like, just, like, how are you feeling about the movement?
I figured out the roll jump roll combo in like Lagoon Layer really early on, and I was like, this is sick. You can reach ledges you're not supposed to reach just by doing that. And then once I started unpacking more of the depth, it was very Odyssey like in like when you do the hat throw to a dive to another hat throw. It's very similar, right? Mm-hmm. Which I think is this team's kind of bread and butter, where it's like, we're gonna allow you to do things that you shouldn't be able to do just to see if you want to do it. You were talking about climbing earlier. The fact that you can hold a chunk of ground and climb a wall with your 2 feet,
dude,
just your feet climbing a wall while you're holding a rock.
Dude, real talk.
You shouldn't be able to do that.
Like, DK, how are you sticking? Are you Spider-Man? Like, what are you doing, DK?
If it was any other game, they would not allow you to do that. But the fact that they are like, no, we want you to just go anywhere, do anything, turf surf to your heart's content. And so I've looked into like movement stuff and a little bit of speedrun tech now after beating it. And so it goes even deeper, because it's not just the roll, jump, roll, or like a roll, jump, punch to like get a little more air, roll. But then it's like, no, turf surf, jump, let go of turf surf, and then jump off the rock, and then roll. Like
jump, baby.
You can do like a triple jump. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
it's insanely satisfying.
One thing that I learned too, you mentioned like punching in the air for a little bit of airtime, and then swinging with the chunk. Similarly gives you so much airtime, and then chunk jump out of it is like the combinations, man. Like
things you can reach, you're crazy.
That was like another concern of mine going in when I learned that like they had like 3 buttons dedicated to punching. I was like, oh man, like how are they gonna do movement then? Like that leaves like so few options, and they made it work because once you have a chunk in your hands, like it just opens up a whole like new moveset, which is like insane to me.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And to go back to like Donkey Kong punching, it's wild that like you punch horizontal, you punch up, you punch down, and guess what? It's all good. And the way that they built the game, where like it is like, you know, classic 360 era, like those open world games where like you can just destroy everything, like Mercenaries and like, you know, Indestructible Hulk, you know, all that kind of stuff, where you can just destroy the entire zone you're on, and you could still explore and find like hidden bananas and everything. It's like they developed a game that is so well like considered in terms of just like Oonga Boonga and also like cool mechanics. It is really impressive.
And you never really feel forced into like overly relying on the destruction. Like I think there's like one level, like the canyon level, where it's like distinctly emphasized. And then there's plenty of like traditional platforming stuff and all kinds of twists that is like just it is super thoughtful. Is like I was worried. I shouldn't have been worried. It's Nintendo. Like, what was I worried about? But like, I was worried about the thoughtfulness of it, and like also conveying that like classic DK gameplay, which it does like so effortlessly with the fluidity.
They did a good job by having like slick walls and stuff that make where you have to do what they intend you to do. So it's just they're very thoughtful about it.
I think what's like additionally to that, like we have the Oonga Boonga destruction, we got cool platforming, and then they also like throw in a good amount of like puzzle elements, especially like when you're going to like those I don't remember what the term was, but those like realms you go into and they'd have like a theme and you'd have to figure it out. That was really cool because I mean the only thing similar to that is like Donkey Kong like bonus rooms, and that's just jumping to get bananas. This is like straight up like you have to consider to use Donkey Kong in a different way. Like say it's a fiery path and you can like chunk ice and throw it and you can create a path. Like there's so many different ways you can approach a thing. It's very Breath of the Wild in that regard. And then when you get Bananza'd, you can even like take on different puzzles or challenges in completely different ways. And then like, oh man, it just really gets your brain going, and that is so satisfying.
Yeah, I want to hear from Alex a little bit more. And
it's. Yeah, I agree with Perry. It's just I really liked those ruin stages that this game had a lot. It felt very Breath of the Wild. It's like it gives you a lot of options. It gives you a lot of rewards for just kind of experimenting with that, but it never locks you in. I think one thing that I really, and kind of going back to what Perry said about how there are different materials that like you throw like a really heavy material or an explosive material and it acts differently in the world. It really helps you think differently than a traditional platformer. You have these skills that you can use, but eventually the game really gets creative in how these different elements kind of come together. And then, eventually you get to the ruins where you really got to kind of, do all these different things in order to get not just, the main banana, but if you do it in a certain way or you find it in a certain area in the rune, then, you get more Banandium gems and stuff like that. One thing that I really that really just blew my mind was the skill tree.
Oh yeah,
because it's not like you just get a new move. You just get something better. You just like it takes you less time to charge up the punch as the Kong Bonanza, or it takes less time to dig or something like that. And it feels like at first you're like, okay, this is a skill tree, but then you're like, wait a second, it's very fluid. It lets you kind of play the game your own way, and I really like it when games do that. It's really fascinating, and it feels like you can approach different elements of the level in however way you want, whether you just want to dig right to it, or whether you want to kind of go around it, or maybe find some other treasures, or maybe you just want to talk to an NPC and fill out those sort of challenges. There's just so much going on, but it never feels like it contradicts each other.
Yes.
It's so, as you said, it's a thoughtful game, and it just kind of goes to show that, God, Nintendo's so good at that.
Yeah.
Yes, and like the brilliance of tying, like, because I was almost apathetic at first to the idea of a skill tree, because like when it was first revealed, because that's never been a thing in Donkey Kong. That's like an RPG thing. But the brilliance,
like especially for Nintendo games, like name brand Nintendo games, there's not a skill tree. Like there's not even a skill tree like in Fire Emblem games. Like it's very bizarre.
The brilliance of not only like allowing that to change your play style, but also tying it to the collectibles, which have been problematic for Donkey Kong with DK64 and also Odyssey, because one of the big complaints that people had about Odyssey was like, there's so many moons, like I'm not feeling the same like impactfulness, the same impact of like the power stars.
Yeah.
And this adds a whole totally new dimension to that, and it is like, it's so well considered. I mean, every aspect kind of like leads into that, like getting the Bananiums. You got to get them to boost your DK to make them even better, and it just a full loop, and it's so satisfying because it didn't just reward you for exploring the level like thoroughly, and you want to get all the dang bananas because you want your DK to be the biggest ever. Speaking of those levels, man. Go ahead, Snowman.
I was just gonna say, you're getting so many all the time that you're never feeling like, it's too infrequent. Like you're always getting more skills because you're always getting more bananas just constantly. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's very fluid.
The seamlessness of the entire experience is just like incredible. And yeah, to that point, like I want to get a little bit into like just the level design in particular. Like, you know, one thing that, you know, I was a little concerned about as well coming off of the direct was like how much they showed. Like, wow, we've got like a lot of different levels here that were just like looking super fleshed out, but I was kind of worried about like the surprise factor. And the craziest part about it getting into the actual game is like you get into these absolutely insane levels off the bat and, you know, get a feel for them. And then once you like complete maybe like the first main challenge, then you bust in to the sub level.
Yeah.
And in the best cases, like the conventions of the level just like almost entirely flip, or it brings a whole new dimension to the level. And so it leaves these huge levels feeling like almost like worlds of a typical platformer.
Yeah.
Because you have so many.
Dude, the
Yeah.
first time you found a sub level, I was like, what? There's levels in the level? Okay, we're giving a lot of game, Donkey Kong. Let's go.
Yeah, and it
keeps
just
going.
yeah, just like I think my favorite ones personally were the ones that like felt like they were almost surprising you in what they had to offer. I think for me, like the freezer layer with how it has this like chilling atmosphere, no pun intended, at the start. And then you bust into like a freaking dessert factory. And like now you're playing with the hot and cold. And that is like kind of like a thing that we see in Mario games as well. But like, I feel like the way that, you know, it's conveyed seamlessly from one layer to another was just like added such a interesting dimension to me. And I think I want to get what each of you guys' favorite level was. But on that note, my favorite level was the forest, because the forest was like not super like incredible off the rip, but like after you get to the hotel and then you bust into the next layer, and then like the vibe just like starts shifting. It's like it's slow, but it shifts.
That's the ostrich level?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like the music starts to change, and like that track that plays, I don't know if you guys remember it, but like the track that plays once you bust into the second sub level is like shades of David Wise to me. And like then you get into the next level after it, and it almost feels like a descent into like pure utter corruption, and the music even reflects that.
Yeah, I know
And
what you're talking about.
That was like peak for me. I mean, there's so many amazing levels, and I
That's
kind
a
of want to
really
know.
that's a really good one to point out, because I did not like the first the first layer, the forest, because I thought it was just like really boring. But then you get to the poison stuff, and it gets really fun and weird and wild. So yeah, that's a good one, Steve.
So what would you say is your favorite level in that case?
Okay, I feel like mine's pretty bland, but to me, it was just mechanically satisfying. It did not have sub layers, but it was the resort level with all the fruits like everywhere, and it had the little bad guys that leave that rainbow material behind, and you grab it and you could fly
so
sky
fun.
high. Dude,
So
that
silly.
level was so much fun just to explore, and you know, it's just a good time, and it's beautiful. Who doesn't like a good beach level? And
Also,
Nintendo games?
a really good like reset of the tone of the game
Yeah.
coming off of the
Yeah,
Void boss
Feels
fight.
way more laid back, and it's like
It,
just a
it
breath
came
of-
in at the right time for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Alex? Favorite level?
Honestly, it's much later, but and maybe I'm jumping ahead here, so feel free to stop me. But I love the food level.
Oh
Just
yes.
with just with all the you know the French fry oil that you're floating over, and just like salt and
That
burgers
felt
and
like-
stuff. It just
That felt like a level from like Banjo-Kazooie or something. Like it felt like
it was
complete
so
off.
creative.
It was awesome.
It was so creative, and it really does feel very, very Banjo, but just taking like this weird theme. It's like you were just gonna build an entire level around the idea of fast food, and just the way that they made it. They didn't just fix, you know, you got the hot oil like cruise that you're trying to, that challenge. But then you got, all these different just food ideas, and it all comes together really cohesively. I will give credit to the hotel world with the ostriches, just because, the way the game approaches NPCs is just so endearing. Just all the ostriches that look just like Espresso.
Yeah.
With the sneakers and the way they tip their hat when they're greeting you. It's so charming. And if it wasn't for the feast layer, that would the ostrich hotel layer would probably be my favorite.
Nice, good taste. I like it. Snowman.
Well, I like how they combine stuff, just like you're saying. So it's not just forest, it's a hotel, but it's not just food, because just the food would almost feel like Luncheon Kingdom, right? Where it's like, oh, this is like Odyssey. But no, it's a theme park, too, and so they're combining stuff. We all have different ones, because I actually really liked Radiance Layer. And it was only because of the sun stuff and turning it dark
that
and
was
light.
really cool.
Yeah, that level.
I wish they...
It felt like a level from a different game. It was so cool.
Yes, and I wish they did it a little more or expanded on it, because it wasn't like fully where they were doing stuff with the lights, but like you were saying, Steve, dropping sub layers, so then you're in kind of a claustrophobic cave, but then you just are in a sea of white sand, and that's like underneath all this, and it's like, that's crazy. And it has the best ruin side mission in the whole game, in my opinion, which is where you're riding on bramble where you can't touch it, so you have to grab a scorpion and ride it.
Yeah.
Then you have to avoid the lights.
Such a fun one.
Yeah,
That one is so good.
So creative.
That was the best one, because you're avoiding the lights, but then if you want the secret banana, you grab the opposite scorpion that has to be in the light, not out of the light, and so then you have to go backward and go. It was just really good.
That's a great one.
Dude, yeah, like, I don't know about you guys, but because I actually replayed Mario Odyssey semi-recently. It was like maybe a year or a year and a half ago. And I don't remember loving those challenge levels in Mario Odyssey as much as I loved these. And even the battle challenges too, because like the battle challenges felt like evocative of that silly like King K. Rool Kremling battle arena from DK64, which was like functionally like so bland and so undercooked. And then they bring it back and they bring it forward in this game with all these crazy twists. Like you never know what to expect. And then having the timer countdown like brings like a frantic energy to it all that was like just so fun. I don't know.
It felt very bonus level, right?
Yeah,
so that
very bonus level.
I think the battles and these side things are functionally the bonus barrels of this game, which is
absolutely
awesome.
And they're like the best bonus levels they've ever been.
Yeah, they're so good.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
And like you still get those stages where you're just getting as much gold as you can. Those are still in the game. So they're pretty hard to find, but I do think that just when you're just beating the crap out of everything just to get as much gold as you can, it very much felt like those bonus stages like in DKC 1 where you're playing as one of the animal buddies and you're just collecting all the tokens.
Right.
And it's just it's all the dopamine just goes through.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a constant cycle.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I do want to. I think we're getting close to the spoiler zone, but I want to hit one just for the sake of time. I want to like hit one topic lightly before we get into that, because I really wanted to hear Alex's thoughts on a lot of the music, because I know Alex is like huge music guy, and like I was just listening to bits of the soundtrack earlier today, and like the ending song, the Heart of Gold with Pauline. Like I kind of just wanted to like pick your brain on how you felt that the music, like if it was able to evoke the vibes of classic DK and then also bring like all different kinds of dimensions, because I felt like I was hearing like all different kinds of things.
As far as the music goes, it's really hard to kind of match the same sort of sound palette that you would expect from David Wise or Evelyn Fisher or Grant Kirkhope, and I do think that Bonanza, I mean, I think certain songs do things a lot better than others. I love the Bonanza themes, all of them.
So
all of
good.
Them. Like
those are such earworms, man.
The fact that like I was, Perry, you started your stream the other day, which is with the zebra theme when you were getting ready, and I'm just like, oh, that was such a good choice.
That song just lives in my head. It's great.
Same.
Yeah, as far as like the other themes, they're a little bit more subdued. You got the original Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong 64 composers cast very, very long shadows over the series, and
For
even
sure.
some of the stuff that you see in Returns or David Wise coming back in Tropical Freeze. It's really hard to kind of match that, but I think Donkey Kong Bonanza goes in a very different direction. I think that it does seem, very tailored to the Odyssey palette. Super Mario Odyssey, but at the same time, I think when it needs to really, like when you go into some of the bonus levels and they're like throwbacks to Jungle Hijinks or Stickerbush Symphony, then you can definitely see how they're taking those ideas and rearranging them in a very interesting way. I probably need to listen to more of the music because there really wasn't anything that super stood out for me just yet. But like I said, the Bonanza themes are fantastic. I think Pauline's focus on singing does kind of add a new angle to how you present music in a platformer like this. So overall, I mean, it's the same level of polish that you'd expect from any big Nintendo project.
For sure.
And I think that over time, we're going to experience, I think that the composers who worked on Bonanza, they're paying close attention to all the sort of Donkey Kong musical styles of the past, and I think that's really cool. I think it's worth revisiting just to listen to the music again because there's a lot to love.
Yeah, I like. On that note, I don't know if I'm just like Nintendo pilled like to Nintendo adult right now. But like I was hearing like I want to say that like when I was in the Tempest layer and the Radiance layer, at times it almost felt like I was listening to like Zelda music.
Totally.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tempest.
In the
Tempest
Tempest for sure.
I spent so much time
That
in
first layer is like straight up like Goron Village or something. And then also in Freezer layer, there's like once you break into, I guess I wrote down Choco Lava Lake. I don't know if that's the second sub level or the third one, but it felt like Super Mario Odyssey. And it's just interesting to think about, like inside Nintendo, I haven't really looked at the credits that much, but I gotta imagine like they have these like incredible composers just like bouncing around projects and like bringing all different kinds of vibes. And like that, to me, with that thought, it made me even more impressed that like they still managed to hit a lot of the Donkey Kong vibes, like the very otherworldly weird tracks, like the one that I brought up earlier, which was in the second layer of the forest, but also like the Divide. You guys remember the weird track in the Divide? Like just these weird like tone shifting moments. It was like so all over the place, but like also so just satisfying, and I love listening to everything. Do you guys have any other thoughts on the music?
The music
Perry?
really does a great job of setting the tone, and also we talked about this a little with Stickerbush Symphony and other DKC classics. When they decide to throw that at you, you're like, oh, you guys can do that too? Good. I'm having an even better time. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just a lot of borrowing of classic Nintendo ideas in here, and also classic DK, and it is just, it's heartwarming. It makes me feel things. It's great.
Yeah, especially like the Pauline adjacent stuff. Like, what do you think, Snowman?
I liked Groove Layer, where you're rebuilding the music as you.
Oh, that was great. That was really clever the way they did that.
That was a special level, man.
And
Yeah.
I think you can do it in any order. I'm not sure, but it started with just the drums, and then they throw in the bass, and then you get the melody on top, and I was like, oh, this was like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So that was memorable to me. Obviously, yeah, all the music is great. I loved going to the classic bonus stages and hearing a bonus track, or one from the original games. So that was also good too.
It's like
And the
tasteful and not
final-
overdone.
Yeah, and it doesn't just sound like Stickerbush Symphony, like their own rendition of it, which is good.
Yeah. I think it's time. We heard Snowman. I think Snowman's itching to talk about get into the spoiler
zone.
Speaking of
music,
so.
the final level for sure.
Yeah. So, we're going to pivot slightly. This is the spoiler zone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flash some spoilers on screen. And for anybody that is sensitive to spoilers, we're going to be talking about the ending sequence of the game because there's a lot there and it rocked my socks off. And so I'm going to have the spoiler indicator on screen. And then, once we get to the end and kind of wrap up, I'll probably drop that off. So if you want to skip ahead, that'll be available to you. But now we're heading deep into spoiler territory, which, I know for all four of us as longtime Donkey Kong fans, I'm sure that was like just it put every single worry I've ever had about the future of Donkey Kong to rest in one fell swoop. Because as you get to the ending sequence in the Forbidden Lair, which in its own right, as just like almost a stopgap level to get to the climax, was like pretty awesome in its own right. You get to that final fight with Void Kong, and then you fight Void, and then it's the big reveal. It's King freaking K. Rool, man. And before we really get into it, like, the first thing I want to say about that reveal was, like, I was anticipating a Kremling return solely for the fact that you have these crocodile skeletons like everywhere.
Yes, it was
and
like,
they're emphasized.
why they look like this?
Yeah, why are they gold Kremlings? And like, I feel like they say in the game somewhere the word Kremling, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah. And yeah, so I was anticipating it a little bit, and I did unfortunately have it spoiled for me by one of you chuckle fucks in the comment section.
Unfortunately,
I was completely
too.
shocked by it. It was such a delight.
Well, what happened with me is like someone had posted some fan art on Blue Sky, and it had DK looking at K. Rool, and it just said Bananza'd at the top, and so I wasn't entirely sure, but it kind of got me in my mind. But no, there was one part where when you're getting close to the Void Kong battle, if you actually talk to one of the NPCs, one of the Fractones,
I know where you're going.
they mention that someone else had come in at one point, and I'm like, really?
Oh my god!
And never returned.
I wonder who that.
I missed that.
I wonder who that could be.
Yeah.
And it's.
And then you get the belly reveal.
Yeah. Okay.
The belly reveal.
That was hilarious because I didn't.
That did not look like a belly until it was a belly.
It didn't click with me right away either.
I gotta say, because I was like, I knew it was coming essentially, and I was anticipating it. Like when it was like bulging, like when it was like popping up and down, and then there's like the green mist around it. I was like, it's him! It's him! And oh my gosh, yeah. Snowman, what were your thoughts headed into that?
I was unfortunately spoiled too. Before I randomly won a Switch 2 and didn't think I was ever gonna play this game, someone posted some final fight thing. It was like, here's a speedrun tech on the final fight, and so you were fighting K. Rool. So
you got Profacia.
That actually
you got
really
Profacia
sucks.
Gaming.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to play it anyway. So, I mean, that's really cool that he's in it. But then I got the game, and so I did know it was coming. But even knowing that was his belly, and that was, I was like, that's obviously going to be K. Rool. But still, just the reveal, I could still just bask in the reveal and just like soak it all in of him. He's there. And it reminded me of Smash Bros. When they revealed K. Rool.
Totally,
such a hype.
It definitely did.
So hype. The feeling was the same.
They play it like a surprise too, and he's like, "It's me," and it still hits. It's so good.
Yeah,
I could still
I'm thinking I'm
appreciate it.
back.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is,
100%. Yeah, I'm back, DK.
And it's
John
just
Wick
he's been there the whole time. Like that's why he hasn't been in many other games, is because
he got stuck.
That's where he was.
He got stuck. He got a big old
That-
belly.
I
Amazing.
loved that so much because to me that said like the devs knew our pain.
Oh, dude,
man.
totally.
They
Yeah.
knew our pain, and in a meta way, it's like, yeah, this is where K. Rool was the whole time. This is why he wasn't in Returns. This is why he wasn't in Tropical Freeze.
Okay.
Like,
So I got a question for y'all, because y'all all got spoiled. Now, before you got spoiled, did you have any anticipation of K. Rool in the game?
I did.
Okay.
Because
That's a good question.
I mentioned this lightly in my video, but I kind of omitted the spoilery part as well. But there's I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kiwi Talks on YouTube. So this guy does a lot of dev
I think
interviews.
so.
He does a lot of dev interviews with particularly a lot of retro studios people.
Oh, that's
it's like
cool.
As you imagine,
Huh.
it's a lot of Western developers from
Yeah.
there's like Bethesda. He does retro studios. This guy does really good work. I would really recommend it if you want to learn more about the inner workings of, game development, project management, how things are actually going from the people that actually make the games. It's really good. So I follow him, and he put out a tweet like before the game came out that I don't know if people were asking him, but he essentially said that, and I think it was a response to the fact that Nintendo was not saying who was making the game
Oh, right.
outright when they were being
Right.
asked so much. And so he said, yeah, Nintendo EPD Group 8 is making this, I've heard. And it's a team that spun off from the Odyssey team. They hired a bunch of people and are trying to build up a lot of their development teams or so. And it's a primarily younger team that has a lot of devs that grew up with Donkey Kong. And then last bit of there, I've heard the Kremlings are making a return. So I was like,
What? So he said that early?
he did say it, but I didn't particularly, that didn't feel like too much of a spoiler for me.
That can sound like just
just a
maybe,
hope and a dream, really.
like
Yeah.
hearsay. Yeah, like hearsay. Yeah. And so I omitted that from my video and stuff. But yeah, so I was anticipating it. Yap. I was
I
anticipating
remember
it personally.
watching a conspiracy channel of analyzing the
Yeah.
trailers, and they were like, in the Bonanza logo, there's light blue and purple, which are the Lost World colors. And so it reminds me of the Lost World. And so K. Rool's going to be... And I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's the biggest stretch I've ever heard in my life. And then, it actually was. So
Wow.
Dude, and I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I think the part of that reason it's so impactful is because for a long time, we didn't think K. Rool was ever coming back.
Yeah.
Because in returns, you have quotes from the producer being like, yeah, we just didn't want to bring the Kremlings back. We didn't feel it was
the Kremlings
necessary.
would not fit in this game, kind of deal.
Yeah, and so for the younger audience, I'm not sure it resonates as much as for the people that us fellow Kong scholars in the trenches, it could never happen.
Planet Core and just seeing all the different baddies come back was so...
When I heard the critter death gurgle,
Oh,
I was like,
dude.
I heard that and I'm just like, oh my God,
big,
they get
stupid
it.
smile
They
on my face.
they get it when you heard the necky crow, when you saw the clap traps, all the enemies throughout the game had just become Kremlings. And it just blew my mind. And when even after, I just remember that because I honestly have a feeling that K. Rool being in Smash might have had something to do with this.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe that just
I can
kind of
see
got people thinking, just it kind of reinvigorated this excitement for him as a character. So maybe Sakurai had something to do with that. But I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, Steve, because it's a lot of, if you look back at something like Jungle Beat, which had this isn't even a spoiler for the game. There's no rare characters in that except for Donkey Kong. It says that in the instruction manual. It's all, and it almost felt like Nintendo was wanted to distance themselves from Rare so much that it just kind of felt like Nintendo's, Japanese development studios just kind of resented Donkey Kong Country. So then, over time, you just feel like, okay, this is just how Nintendo is going to treat Donkey Kong now. But then once you get to something like this, that it's made of a lot of younger devs who probably grew up with Donkey Kong Country and have a huge affinity for it, having them just do this enormous amount of fan service because it makes it feel like they're fans and they want to show how much they like Donkey Kong Country and K. Rool.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it goes beyond like, you know, a love letter to DKC and K Rool and the Kremlins and everything. And it's like the most send up I've ever seen for like an old beloved part of a franchise that's kind of dead. It was awesome. I do want to say is I was messaging Steve on Discord the entire time I was getting to the end game. The K Rool reveal, I popped off. The K Rool music that triggers when he's like, "Bye DK, you're gonna have to chase me," is so good. I was like, okay, I'm all in. This is like absolutely peak. Like, I loved Bananza. I went beyond love after the whole K Rool reveal. And that whole section afterwards is amazing. It's so much fun. It's insane. He's like, okay, we haven't really talked about this, but the boss fights in this game, easy peasy. You could like fall asleep and beat them up.
Yeah.
The K Rool stuff, you actually have to know. You have to pay attention. You can't just sleep on it. It's great. They do a really good job, and there's 2 fights. It's insane.
Yeah,
Wow.
That
the
ending,
just
that
the finale. Oh, it's so good.
they
Sorry, did you say the same thing?
no, go ahead. I was pretty much, yeah, I agree with you. It just keeps going.
Do you want to talk
They
about the
did
boss fights now?
They did the
Yeah.
credits fake out.
Oh, I
dude,
love
I was
that.
so happy they did. Like I said, it's like beyond love letter. They didn't need to do that. Who's that for?
Yeah.
It's only for people that play Donkey Kong Country.
And,
Yeah.
and I knew it was cut because obviously it had this face and you're like,
Yes.
Yeah.
oh, they're doing it. They're doing the credit, and it was, you know, coding, claptrap, everything, and it's still, it just felt so good. And so then he comes back, and the music in the final freaking when the music when you're like ascending back up to the top, and just like the whole time I'm just so hyped. And then the final fight too is so good.
The final fight was you think of these things as far as like what do you think is the best way to pay justice to this character, and just the fact that like I thought it would be over after just the rising banana tower, and then the Gangplank Galleon theme, crazy good, and then you get up to the city and you're like, okay, I guess the game's over.
Yeah.
But then you have a whole nother sequence, and it's in the boxing ring from Donkey Kong
It's
64.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
They just went over the top with the whole ending sequence. Because like even when you beat K Rool the first time, when you're like still inside the planet, you're like, okay, that's cool. And then it's like fake credits, and then you're going up, and you still see K Rool. He's still fighting. You're like, okay, how far is this gonna go?
Filthy monkeys.
Oh my god, it's like you could not put down your Switch during that whole like final sequence, and it's not short.
I couldn't stop.
It
either.
was so
it just keeps going.
good. It was so hype.
Yeah, and like, oh man, I don't know how you guys felt about like the ending to Mario Odyssey. I just remember when that game came out and I played through the ending sequence, and I was like, this is the best game ever. Like, this is incredible. Like controlling
Bowser and
Bowser.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
I
was
remember that.
was so amazing. And I think that was probably so amazing for a lot of people. And I kind of wonder, like, long term, how these two endings are going to compare, because in my head as a Donkey Kong fan, that almost blew the Mario Odyssey ending like out of the water.
Oh, dude.
Because it was insane.
I agree.
It's kind of
and the boss fight too.
because like
Yeah.
I think what made the Odyssey one so special, because it felt like Mario going even beyond and like becoming Bowser, and you have a whole Bowser sequence. Never expected that. This is like times 10. Like you're getting a whole sequence where you're going through a city that's like getting molten banana lava. I don't know why K. Rool likes trash. I thought he had teeth. I don't know what that's about. But anyways, and then you have a whole elevator ride, which is like its own sequence that's awesome, and like two great boss fights. It's so extra. Like it's
Yeah, it
literally
almost
going
feels
beyond.
like a freaking Dark Souls boss fight, with how like you just punch him over and over again and he doesn't budge at all, and it does like so little damage initially. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god, he's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
They,
oh yeah.
They do that. This
It
is
was-
not my final form like twice. It's awesome.
Yes.
Just the fact it says King of Rot.
Oh.
It's so Elden Ring coded, right
Dude,
there.
in a way,
But,
it kind of retroactively like gives more purpose to K. Rool nabbing DK's bananas in the prior games, or at least
Yeah.
in DKC 1, because like, oh yeah, he doesn't want to just like torment Donkey Kong. I mean, obviously he does, but like,
He likes to eat.
he just likes rotten bananas. He just likes and that's why they are like he's just storing them. And
Again, do you think he's got some kind of teeth problem? Because like crocodiles are known for like a lot of teeth. Like it would make sense if Donkey Kong wanted rotten bananas, but
that's a good point. I didn't
what's
think of it
going
that
on,
way.
K. Rool? What's wrong with your teeth?
We gotta get this
Just a
man to the
rotten guy.
dentist.
He is just a
Yeah,
rotten
it's
guy.
just
He's a
the
scoundrel.
level,
and he likes his food.
the levels,
What a gross guy.
the levels they go to on that last boss fight are just crazy. Because there's one thing in particular that I really, really like when any sort of boss fight does this. Is, throughout the whole game, you're using these Bananzas, it's DK's big special move. And then I love it when that special technique or that special power that you've had throughout the entire game, this villain can do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love that. That is such a just, because it makes you feel like, you're not special
Exactly.
anymore.
When they do the rival is as good as you, dude. Buckle up.
Yeah.
It is so satisfying.
Dude, and what's up with K. Rool like low key being like anime as fuck? Like,
Oh, dude.
when he takes off the crown, he drops the crown, and he's like,
Your beat is
Your beat is strong, but my beat is stronger.
Yeah, it's so it's so extra. It's amazing.
So extra. Yeah, just incredible. Oh man. Any final thoughts on the K. Rool stuff? Snowman or anybody?
It just is so satisfying to see it all back. Like it's all returned. So we made a video. I think some of us were in this video that I did years back of things I want in a future DK game. And I had a checklist of things I wanted. I wanted animal buddies to return. I wanted the Kremlings to return. Bonus runes. And I think almost all of that was hit with this game. Because just seeing...
I think it was. I
K-Rool-
remember that video.
Yeah. And the Kremling return. And like we already mentioned that like it felt like bonus runes were kind of back. Other than maybe animal buddies, but really it's like the Bananzas kind of are that, right? In some different form or fashion, I feel like this kind of checked.
Ramby's in the game, bro.
I know. I know.
True, we didn't even
That-
talk about that, man. Oh my god.
My one complaint is the cranky ramble things that he does. They all repeat. And he didn't
Yeah,
have, like,
I
a whole
was
bunch of
bummed.
different ones that he did.
That was one area where it just felt uninspired. You know,
He could have had a whole bunch of different cranky things
yeah, he could
that
have
does in the
really
PC
laid
one.
into DK, and I feel like he just did.
I might be stretching a bit too far with this, but I kind of think that seriously, I might be stretching way too far with this, but I kind of feel like the intention with that was almost to make him feel like a old man just yapping and it's like saying the same stuff over and over again. It's like humorous.
Oh, that's even funnier if he forgets what he
Yeah.
said.
Like he's-
Yeah, and
he's
all-
seen
Already
it.
and
told me
also,
this, old
like-
man.
Yeah, he's also like, if you go back and read a lot of dialogue, he's like teasing. Anything that is, could be attributed to Void, who in his own right was a great villain and served his purpose like super well. And I totally wouldn't mind seeing him come back,
Dude, yeah.
in some other way.
We didn't get to talk about it, but his lackeys were great too. Grumpy Kong and
Yes.
what was the other one?
Poppy
Dude,
Kong, yeah.
Goated. They're so good.
Yeah, like Void has all these similarities with K. Rool that like when you read the dialogue, it's like, oh yeah, he's talking about Void. But one thing that they do in the game is that when an NPC is talking to you and it's like they're mentioning you kind of like by name, they'll have like a little icon next to your name, or Donkey Kong and Pauline icon next to
right.
whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
And so when Cranky's talking, there's no icon, so it's like kind of ambiguous, like what
Never
he's
really
talking
thought
about
about
in
that.
retrospect.
That's
Yeah,
really
so-
interesting because maybe Cranky was kind of new about.
I mean, he's
K-Rool.
definitely
yeah,
old
so
enough to know for sure.
To follow that, so I completed my 100% completion playthrough, which I would only recommend if you're like a complete sicko and like just intrinsically want to like get everything, because the ending reward is like not worth it for the like. But I mean, I had so much fun doing it, and so I went back and talked to Cranky after the game was over, and he even says at the end like there's a bit of additional dialogue to those segments where he's like, you got that conniving croc that I was complaining about. So he
Oh,
even like
shit.
spells it out. And yeah. So yeah, it's just like, I think where I want to end this discussion is exactly what you were saying, Snowman. Like, it ties everything so well. And not only does it like bring back what we loved about Donkey Kong in like almost every aspect, but also bringing it forward, and also like kind of bringing it into the Mario universe in a way that doesn't feel forced. It feels like super tasteful. And like, I mean, hell, like, just for as much as I love K. Rool, like, even just busting into New Donk City was like amazing. And that for me makes me like so incredibly optimistic about DK moving forward, because I don't know if you guys read like some of the developer interviews, but one of the producers on the game basically said that, you know, we see this as like not just a one-off game. Like, this is like, you know, this is going to be the future of DK.
Whoa.
We want to do more. We imagine there's going to be a team working on 2D games as well, and a 3D team. And so, like, it's just everything about it. Like, it's so crazy to me to think that I was so concerned for the stupidest reasons. I mean, I feel like it was, part of it was valid in hindsight, because they kind of played me like a fiddle. You shake your head, but they played us like fiddles.
They didn't play me, sir.
I mean, Alex touched on this a bit, where like, you know, it felt like they, I think it was Alex earlier touched on this, where like they showed so little of like what we imagine a 3D Donkey Kong game would be, in that first trailer. But then as we learned more about it, it was like, okay, yeah, there's this is kind of like the Animal Buddies, like this is like the classic levels coming back and stuff like that. And yeah, it was such an emotional roller coaster for me, because they put all my concerns to rest in the game of my dreams for Donkey Kong. And now we have like presumably so much cool stuff to look forward to. Like, you know, I don't know if you guys heard about this too, but there's a rumor that there's potentially going to be a Donkey Kong movie, which makes total sense coming off of how well that, you know, he fit into the Mario movie, tying it in to the Mario universe and also preserving so much of what makes DK amazing. Like, I'm so stoked. I just played 50 hours of an amazing game, and I'm even looking forward to even more in the future. I'm blown away. I'm seriously blown away.
It was such a big swing, and the fact that it landed is honestly a miracle. Because like it could have gone so many like different ways. It could have gone wrong, and the fact that it just nailed the fan service nostalgia for fans, but then just took it to new waters and stuff. I mean,
they
like,
made a killer game.
To thread that needle, somehow they just nailed it perfectly.
I'm really curious if people that aren't Donkey Kong fans prior to Bonanza, if this hit for them the same way. Because I'm sure there's not the reverence for, you know, K. Rool and all that, but like, I think in terms of just a fun Nintendo game, I think it's like, it's really up there.
Yeah, for sure. Alex, do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know how they're going to top this.
I don't know either.
Honestly, it really feels like, I mean, when you reveal a character like K. Rool, who's been so adored over the years, and people really just were very sad that he hasn't been as prominent in the series, that kind of surprise is very difficult to do a second time. As far as the gameplay, I mean, I haven't had this much fun with a Donkey Kong game in a long time, and probably because we haven't had a new one in a while. But you know, it feels very different. It makes you think differently. It has so much fan service. It's such a radical departure from what we've expected from Donkey Kong, and I just don't know how they're going to top it. I mean, I think this is going to be a game that a lot of people are going to continue to speedrun. The fact that you can actually complete the game with no Banandium gems.
Whoa!
And all these speedrun. Yeah, I actually went back to I was like, there's got to be a way. At least in the tutorial, they make you do it. They don't make you do it.
Oh, really?
I went back to play the tutorial area, and none of the objectives say collect Banandium gems. They just say explore the mine.
Yep.
So, and there are people who've actually finished the game with not just any Banandium gem, so it's really hard because they have no skills in the skill tree. there are people that will skip Bananzas, and you actually get original dialogue like that say, hey, maybe you should go get these Bananzas at some point. I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
I didn't know
was
that.
shocked.
I want to see those playthroughs, honestly. I had no idea you could skip.
Oh.
Well, you're in luck, sir,
Oh,
because I'm planning one of them. So
Yeah,
good.
shameless promo
go
coming
for
in.
it. But I just really, I don't know how they're going to top this. This just feels like, I know we pass around this phrase all the time, but it really did feel like peak.
Peak.
It really did feel like peak Donkey Kong. I have no idea what they're going to do next.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's where I want to end this off. But yeah, shameless promo. I want to try my luck at a Zero Banana playthrough, and so I'm thinking of streaming it. I'm not entirely certain yet, but
awesome.
It sounds like in my head a good idea for some more content for this channel. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'm probably gonna maybe start spinning up some warm-up streams to kind of like get back in the group, because I used to stream quite a bit a long time ago, but it's been a long time and I've been kind of itching to get back. So this seems like super perfect opportunity. So let me know if you're interested in that. And yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza, freaking fantastic game. Before we go, I want to thank my lovely co-hosts so much for joining me, because I have known all three of these guys for, I guess, like a decade now, and we have just been bonding over Donkey Kong for so long. So it's like, it feels amazing to get you guys back together. So thank you so much for joining me. And
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Steve, there's only one thing I could say, and that is, oh, banana!
DK.
DK.
God. Do you guys have anything you want to plug before we get going?
Twitch.tv/Peridactyl. Check it out if you like variety streams and just a good gamer, dude. Just really killing it on the freaking video games. And maybe some sillies, maybe some goofs.
A lot of sillies, a lot of goofs, and it's a good time. So, Snowman, are you you got anything left in the
Well, there's
oven
this
for...
YouTube channel called wizawhat that I want to plug that is really, really good.
I have not heard of this
And I
channel.
heard, well, here's the inside scoop that I heard, is that he's working on a video on Metroid 64 and how it
God.
used to...
Dude, holy cow, man. Oh. Wizard Dedicus.
Damn. We
Subscribe
are
to
cutting
wizawhat.
deep. Oh, yeah. I actually low-key totally forgot that I have a video coming out on that channel that has all three of you in it. So, yeah,
Amazing.
get ready for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be hype. I have so much content coming, you guys. I'm sorry for the wait, but
Yeah.
yeah. Alex, I know you're cooking on something. Bonanza.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, youtube.com/postmesmeric on the YouTube. I mean, it's no shock that I'm going to be doing a Bonanza video. I've been doing all these different Donkey Kong videos, and after I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do one for Donkey Kong Month this year. I'm done with that. But then they just announce a new one. It's like, but I'm really excited to talk about this. I'm going to go, a lot of the stuff that I said here, I'm going to kind of have more elaborated points on that, but I don't know how long it'll be. I don't know how long it'll take to finish, but yeah, there's a lot of gameplay footage of this game, and it's very big footage because of that. There's all that stuff that's on screen every time you punch a wall in the game. Yeah, I'm working very hard on that. So anybody who visits the channel or watches or subscribes, that will be the next big project.
Yes, please check it out, because this guy does good freaking work. And if you need content to watch in the meantime as you wait for the Bonanza video, excellent series of retrospective videos on every single game in the series.
Yeah,
Seriously, I
you
can't
mentioned this
recommend it
earlier,
enough.
Steve, but like, all four of us have made Donkey Kong content. So if you want to go find that, I have a YouTube channel. I don't really do anything on it, but youtube.com/Peridactyl. But yeah, Snowman Gaming, wow. The DK month, man, you got so much DK content.
There's a playlist. There's a playlist of Donkey Kong month videos on there somewhere.
And you're going to have a great
And if you
time.
dig deep, there's a DK rap in
No,
there. and I'll
there's no
leave it
DK
at that.
rap. That's weird that you mentioned that, though. I mean, there is a song, but I don't know.
I still watch it. I still go back and watch it sometimes.
Yeah, I need to
I'm
go
so
watch that
vain.
now.
I'm so vain. Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyways, thank you everyone for stopping by, and I will see you in the future with more videos. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Ooh, banana.